Hi and welcome to Gamers Web. My name is Mark, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Rift War Volume 1 Festung Europa for Konflikt 47 from Warlord Games. This is a brand new product. It's not been out very long. In fact, it was only released on March 28th, and I got my copy last week. I've got quite a few videos up at the moment for the new Festung Europa campaign, and I'll leave links to my other videos in the description, or I'll try and put a playlist up here somewhere. But anyway, let's jump on. Right, so this is a brand new book that is the first in a series of expansions that expand on the lore of Konflikt 47. So let's jump in. Right, so on the back we've got a bit of a blurb on the back, which basically just rehashes what we found in the core rulebook, and then as we jump in, just make sure this is centered. Yeah, as we jump in, we see some amazing artwork. Now there's a full colour picture of this further on. We'll have a look at that in closer detail when we get to it. Okay, control of the rest is worth any sacrifice. The living are bothersome, they balk at the unpleasantness of war, the dead are inscrutable, they are the perfect soldiers, with the dead we will make perfect the soldiers of the living. Albrecht von Zogling. So I've done a review of von Zogling. The guy's really weird and seems very funny, and that's von Zogling. That's the miniature. Just a guy walking around in a mobile harness. Right, he's the head of the Access Duelings. Right, I missed out a page. So we have our contents page with all the different things that's going on. The book itself is 112 pages, 113 pages long. We've got credits of who's who and who's written what and everything at the front, which is brilliant because other companies like Games Workshop don't tend to do that anymore, and it's always good to credit people who've actually done the work on the product you're selling. We've got a very veritable who's who in the gaming industry here. We've got, let's have a look, Andy Chambers, Roger Gurish, Gav Thorpe, Bill King, Eddie Wood, Jim Butler, Marcus Vine, and then we've got Ian Strickland, where are we? Artwork Stephan Kopinski, which is like some amazing art that Stephan's done in here. And special thanks to John Stellers, Paul Sawyer, God bless him, Jim Butler, Steve Morgan, Paul Filburn, Colin Stone, and Gabriel Tolentino. Right, okay, let's jump in. Right, like I said, I jumped a page there, so please forgive me. Great. It's got a mixture of artwork in this book. I've not read through the entire book yet. I've read through about 3/4 of it. The artwork goes from almost commando-esque style artwork to really fine, almost photographic detail. Right, so we've got the dawn of the Rift War. This gives us our background of what's happened in Los Alamos and the rise of the Green Vault, the fall of the Nazi Party, and such things like that, and what's happened throughout the previous years. A lot of this is already covered in some sense in the core rulebook. Then we've got, like I say here, we've got like pictures that are like the dead city. This is like Dresden itself. It's almost like a photograph that's been just put onto the paper with a text over it. It's actually a painting, but it's very nice. Then this is the full colour picture from Stephan Kopinski that I was on about. So if we look at this, we've got some totem coat. They look like they're being bombed. We've got a couple of Vogelspins here in the background. Then we've got Sturmgard at the back there. He's not alive, he's dead. We've got an Ursus with a hammer, which is the Russian one. We've got a dead Firefly, and we've also got what looks like a dead lycanthrope and a dead werewolf. So all these are dead. There's another dead firefly here. They're advancing forward. As you can see, the whole point of the thing is to cause as much terror and horror among the people as possible. So we've got a theatre thing. Tells us about Operation Overlord, or D-Day, as it became known more commonly. Again, we've got the Commando S style artwork with troops and totem coat in the background. And we've got artwork here of US Rangers encounter first Rift-born horror in Buckeridge Country. Buckeridge Country, yeah. Allied troops attempt to expel a group of totem coats plaguing a small village in Normandy. Yeah, all the photography is brilliant. Again, you wouldn't expect anything less with Warlord Games. So we've got a background on the Totem Core and the Battle of the Bulge, and all these box outs are really well worth reading. They're all interesting in their own thing. They had more light onto the background of the game itself. So we've got a bit of short fiction, Dead Man's Hunt, which features Roberta Wells, who's a character who we're just about to see. So Roberta Wells is one of the US characters, and if you pre-ordered this, you get Roberta Wells as a miniature. I've already got Roberta Wells as a miniature that I got. She was the open day miniature at last year's Warlords Open Day. I couldn't get to the open day, so I just bought her on the website. This is available to buy separately. You don't need to buy the book to get it, but if you bought the book on pre-order, you got Roberta Wells for free. And we'll have a look at her once we've gone through the book. Okay, so Roberta Wells is a scientist. She's not a soldier, but she's not afraid of getting her hands dirty. She goes onto the front lines. She's one of the foremost experts in the US forces, or in fact the world, on Rift technology and Rift science. As I say, she is a scientist. There's only a couple of people who match her knowledge, who we're going to see in a moment. These are the heroes of Rift War 1, or Rift War Volume 1. Okay, so go along. US Paragon program. Samuel Slammer Stevens, is it? Slammer Samuels. Harris Slammer Samuels. I couldn't remember that. Got a review of him up on my website as well. Okay, so it's all about taking an offensive against Dresden. About what's going to happen. So we have our theatre of operations in Europe and the Near East on the 12th of February 1947. So this is 2 years after the war officially ended in our timeline. So in this convergent timeline, obviously the World War II didn't end in 1945. It ended, well, it hasn't ended actually, it's just escalated. So Soviet bloc takes over a lot of Europe. And then we've got the Axis, got like Greece, Turkey, Italy, Norway, Germany, obviously, going into parts of France and Sweden, Belgium, what have you. We've got neutral states as well. So at the moment, Sweden, Spain, Portugal, and Ireland are all neutral, and there's a neutral round here, round past Iran. So I don't know if that's going to be Iraq or what have you. We've got Azerbaijan there. Okay. And we've got another lot of great artwork. So we've got some real political people, and obviously this is done as a top secret, redacted information. A little bit like the Epstein files, but not as detailed, not as gory, if you get what I mean. I think the Epstein files probably make worse reading than this does. Okay, so this is all fiction, but it does add to the background. We've got annotated notes at the side of it by the person who's reading it, and it's all about discovering that the Totem Core are alive corpses, living corpses of German forces. But no, it's not just German, it's also any corps that they can get their hand on, which we'll see in a moment. Okay, so we've got Operation Valentine, which is our first major offensive. We've got Heinrich Grossmann, who's one of the characters we're going to come across in a moment. So Heinrich Grossmann oversees the fortification of Festung Stuttgart. So Festung means fortress, and obviously Festung Europa means fortress Europe. Okay, we've got Operation Pluto takes place in this as well. We'll go along. So we've got a timeline for it. So it starts on February the 14th for Operation Valentine's. It launches into southern Germany and then keeps on going until I think it's July, or June or July, something like that. As you can see, the timeline keeps on going. America attacked on July the 4th, 1947. Offensive operations were abruptly halted, and all forces were ordered to adopt defensive postures until any further orders were issued. No further information from Washington was forthcoming, or at least presented to the common soldier. For the next week, rumours circulated amongst the troops of the unthinkable: American mainland was under attack. By whom and quite how, no two rumours could quite agree on the foreign invasion. Soviet insurgencies, or even a civil war, each was unsubstantiated as the last. No matter the truth, the clock was ticking towards Operation Touchdown. Offensive operations resumed just over a week later, but it would be months before the truth of what had occurred over that week, or at least the semblance of it, finally reached the soldiers on the front line. Which is, from my reading, a little insight into Volume 2, which is the attack on America. There's a couple of those throughout the book, and there's a big tease at the end of the book for the next book. So we have Hauptmann Heinrich Gross, right? So he is your typical bad guy. He's the Green Volt's equivalent to, I'd say, Rasputin in the Hellboy movie. Although he's not Russian, he's German. He's a very decorated soldier, really good tactician, but he's also got a command of the Rift. He can master the Rift. He's very good with Rift technology, and in the game he's fantastic at leading the troops. So we now have what makes this book really interesting. We've had some information at the background. We now get our first scenario, Fellow Giant. Now, if you've been introduced into Warlord Games Konflikt 47 online, or you've seen any of the battle reports from Warlord Games themselves, or people like Mori and Glory, who's actually done battle reports from the Warlord Games web studios in Nottingham, you'll have seen what I'm going to show you now. Right, so here we have the Sturmies, which I'm not sure what it means. I think it's Storm Warden or something like that. It's basically it's a gathering. All right, it's basically a rift collector, and it collects rift energy. And your objective in this, as the allies, is to destroy it, and obviously as the Axis is to keep it intact. And this thing attacks every turn, and it starts off, it's got 5 rift dice, and every time someone uses a rift dice and it gets activated, then it turns into inactive, it gains a rift dice, and it gains surging rift dice, and it just gets powerfuler and powerful and powerful, and it can do massive attacks with like a 3-inch template, and it's got a damage value of 12, and you've got to destroy it, I think, 3 times before it's gone. Now, whether this is going to come out as a model kit is anybody's guess. I doubt it, because it would be very, very expensive, and Warlord Games tend to keep their models sub £100. I don't think there's anything other than the Pegasus Bridge set, which is over £100, and that is massive. That's like the length of my table. So I don't think it's going to be coming as a kit. It might be released as an STL so people can 3D print it. I'm hoping to build one of these. I've got a plasma ball which will just which will just fit in nicely. I just need to get the bits and pieces. And one of the guys over on the Warlord Games Konflikt 47 forum on Facebook, one of the groups, he's already started scratch building this, and it looks amazing. Right, so there's a better picture of it. This thing doesn't move; it stays static, but it is armed with well, it's armed to the teeth. It's got like cannons all round it. I think it's got 6 cannons, and obviously it's got this like rift wave that it can send out. Great artwork. There's no sneak peeks here by the looks of things. I've looked through it with a magnifying glass to see if I could see anything that's new, because sometimes games companies tend to drop things like that on photo spreads, but I couldn't see anything that I didn't recognise. So Operation Pluto, Operation Valentine's been underway. We're now on Operation Pluto, which started slightly before Operation Valentine, but we're going on further on with the campaign. And again, we've got our timeline for Operation Pluto, and then the introduction of another character. This is a Soviet character. Again, I've got a review of up on Games Web. This is Commissar Gregor Drugov. Now, Gregor Drugov was a very decorated, highly motivated member of the Commissariat who volunteered to be experimented on, to be turned into an Ursus. They didn't want him to do it. In the end, they were forced to capitulate, and this guy kept most of his intelligence. On his back, he's got this like canister that allows him to basically become the Hulk. He hulks out, and the more of this juice that pumps into him, the more savage and beast-like he becomes. Very good. I'm hoping he gets a new model, because the old model, the stance is a little bit naff on it, and he doesn't have the thing on his back. Right, so advancing on the thing here, we've got our first bit of fluff about the Knightsia, which is the new tank that has just come out for the Soviets, which is this bad boy here. This thing goes around the battlefield and reanimates the dead with von Zogling, who's this guy here, who we just saw a little while back. Okay. Then we've got the aftermath of Operation Pluto. The Allies are not in a very good way. Soviet Ursus, Scenario 1, Harvesting the Dead. Again, using our wee guy. I'm just going to pop him out of the way. There we go. So you got your deployments in the scenarios. The scenarios are quite straightforward, but you need specific scenario rules for these. So you must have. Let's have a look here. The Axis must have at least 2 Totem Core, and they must have at least 2 of the Knightsia to actually meet the criteria for the scenario, which is good. I mean, these thematic things they add a really great thing to the narrative. So basically, what these things do, they go along, they find corpses, they inject them with these big needles on the front, and they reanimate almost instantly, and just get up and go to attack the former front comrades. So comrades in arms. So this is basically just telling us, like, you know, oh, my mate's just died. I was having breakfast with him this morning, and now the poor guy's gonna rise up and become one of the undead. Again, more great pictures. So we've got Russian forces here facing off against the Totem Corps. Then the third of the campaigns, which is the main campaign in here, which is Operation Touchdown, is touched on here. So this is June 23rd to September the 6th, 1947. As you notice, as I'm going through the book, we've got Russian, Soviet, we've got Axis, we've got US, and we've got British Commonwealth. The faction that's missing is the Japanese. There's no mention of the Japanese as far as I've seen so far in this book, although it's hinted at with the passage I read out earlier and the back spread. So fireflies amongst the ring of the dead. You know, as I said, you're having breakfast with your mate one day, and the next day you're fighting him because he's been controlled by the Totem Core. Again, more commando style artwork, which is brilliant. I think it adds a real flavour to it, especially that kind of stuff, and adding into it a mixture of artwork is really good. So we've got some sort of fiction here, Into the Spider's Web, which is basically about Von Gosling, not Von Gosling, sorry. My brain's gone. Anyway, Albrecht von Zogling, sorry, not Gosling. Yeah, so this guy, he walks around in this powered armour harness, battle harness. He's also quite competent. He can look after himself. He's armed with a pistol. He also has rift mastery as well, and he's a bit of a mad scientist, really. Well, I say a bit, he's a lot of a mad scientist. He's quite crazy. He's the kind of over-the-top scientist that you see in, you know, comic books in the 1960s and 1970s. If he had a moustache, he'd be twirling it. So this battle harness has got a big canister on the back that basically allows him to do the same thing as the Knight's Ear. He goes around on the battlefield and says, oh, that body looks interesting. I'll take that back for further study. Injects it with these big probe arms, and it comes back to life. And then he totters off again until he finds something else interesting. And he's the Hunterman, or the Harvester, because he harvests the dead. Right. Again, I've got a review of him up on the site. I'm going to do a full review of this as well. Because this is just a quick look through. I'm going to do a full review of it, and just to reiterate, there are very little rules for any of the new models at all in this. The only thing there is the Stormies, which isn't available. Everything else you need to go onto the website, the Warlord Games website, and download the free PDFs for the army list that have just been updated. Unless you've got the Warlord app. If you've got the Warlord app, everything's already on the app anyway, and all the full rules are there. I'm going to have a look at those in depth when I get a chance to. Okay. So again, more nice artwork. There we go. I can't turn the page. And then we have our final character, which is B for Bertie. So B for Bertie is the Commonwealth hero, the first Commonwealth hero, and he's an automaton. Basically, he should have been deactivated because he's a Mark 1, but for some reason his AI is kind of grown sentient, and he wanders around the battlefields and appears when you know, dire straits. Is a little bit like King Arthur, and another analogy would probably be the Legion of the Damned from Warhammer 40,000. They appear when all hope is lost, and he appears when all hope is lost, and often turns the tide of the battle. It appeared from nowhere like a guardian angel radiant, led fury upon them beasts till they didn't move no more. Then it was gone. We owe it our lives. PFC John Davis, 103rd Rifle Battalion, Regiment 26th Infantry Division. Now, B for Bertie is coming out as a miniature. He's on pre-order at the moment. I've got a link down below for all the pre-orders for all the new stuff that's coming out in June, which includes the new Ursus and more Mark 1s and Mark 2s. Right, so another scenario, touchdown. Again, all the scenarios have got victory conditions and the game duration. They normally last about 6 turns, which is the average for these things. Second scenario, so this is the final part of the Fortress Europa, Festung Europa. Then we got the last scenario, which is pursued by the Harvestmen. Well, I think it's the last scenario. Yeah, it is. There's the Harvestmen there. I've not even started painting mine yet. And then we got Operation Valentine. with the timeline of it. And more fiction. And another great colour spread. The photography is fantastic. Dresden Defiant. Don't want to give away too much because I want people to read it. And then we have our last 2 pages. So all units, the conditions are favourable. Amaterasu smiles upon us. The way is open. Execute. Signal intercepted off the coast of California, 3rd of July, 1947. Fantastic, as you can see, you've got the rising sun and the ruins of a city and a mech in silhouette, which looks like it's holding a big sword. Right, okie dokie. Right, that is my fairly quick look through Festung Europa. I am very pleased with this. As I say, you don't get any rules, not as such. The rules are available for free on the website. The reason why Warlord Games have done this rather than actually putting them in print is the Konflikt 47 light bolt action is a constantly living game. It's expandable. It expands with the play testing by thousands and thousands of people across the country and across the world. These people breathe this game new life, and they might find that you do rules for one thing and it doesn't work. So rather than having to reprint it, all they do is change the PDF and address it in an FAQ. And that way it means that the game's constantly evolving. Big thumbs up to Warlord. As usual, it's a fantastic piece. And I'm really looking forward to getting my Totem Coat army finished and getting these guys up on the table in the next few weeks, and hopefully trying to get a battle report done. I keep on saying I'm going to do battle reports and never get around to filming them when we do actually play, because I'm an idiot. Right, so that's a look at the game. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you very quickly what else you got as a pre-order, which was, we've already touched on Roberta Wells. And what I'm going to do is I'll assemble her and we'll have a quick look at her in a moment. And we also get this fine lithograph by David Manor, which is going to be framed. I'm going to put that up. I don't often put getting things up on the walls, but this is going to go up on my wall in my living room. Fantastic, great stuff. So I'm going to assemble this miniature. I'll be right back. We'll have a quick look at it and I'll give you my final thoughts. So I shall be right back. Okay, right, so that's her quickly assembled. It only took a couple of minutes to assemble it because there's not very many pieces. I'll zoom in properly so we can have a quick look. She was packed very lovingly and caringly by Howard. Thank you, Howard. Getting quite a collection of these quality control slips, although I'm really pleased that they actually put quality control slips in, because most companies don't. Okay, so we're going to zoom in and have a look at Roberta Wells. So as you can see, she's on with a Tesla rifle. I've got a little bit of filling that needs to be done on the model, not much. She's got the Firefly jetpack on the back, but other than that, one little gap that needs filling. She goes together really, really well. She comes with a bit of scenic base that you just glue onto the plastic Warlord base, and she's going to be a great addition to anybody's force, and available now separately. I think she's £8 to buy separately. Okay, right, so I'll leave Roberta there. She can take on the Germans on her own time. Right, so that's my quick look through Festung Europa. I'm really, really excited. I've not been this excited about Games Project for a long, long time. I spent since September, I spent the time since September amassing quite a large force of Germans, well, Axis, Commonwealth, Soviets and Americans. The only thing I don't have is the Japanese to play the game, which I'm looking forward to doing. I've got quite a lot of points now and it's ever expanding and I'm really enjoying it. So thanks Warlord, thanks very much for reaffirming my love for this hobby. Right, so I've been Mark. No matter where you are in the world, please stay safe, folks. Look after yourselves. And I know I say this quite a lot, but I mean it. If you introduce a friend to gaming, you'll never need to worry about having a game. Roll those dice, paint those miniatures, have fun, and take care. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.